What is up, beautiful people of the internet? I am Wesley.
I'm Stephanie.
And this is Wes and
Steph.
And I made her do that intro 3 times because we couldn't get the Wes and Steph. But
he does it differently every time, but he expects me to know which one he's doing.
You should read my mind, okay?
I'm
but
sorry.
We are reacting to The Most Beautiful Life Goes On, a story of BTS. This is something that you guys really, really requested. What are you laughing at?
Just laughing.
This is what you guys requested most heavily on the video where we reacted to BTS funniest moments for the first time because we didn't really know anything about BTS as a whole.
Or the members.
Or the members at all.
And you guys said this one would really help us understand. So if you guys aren't BTS fans, this should really help you kind of get an intro to them too, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah, because we thought it would. I think we enjoyed their funniest moments much more than we had even anticipated.
And we knew that we'd enjoy it even more once we understood the background of everybody.
And I think we had no idea they had their own variety show, and we've actually been kind of looking for like a variety show type of format to react to. So the fact that BTS has a variety show was kind of like,
it's perfect. Also, you guys kept asking for BTS reactions, and we're like, we can't react to the music videos; they'll get copyright claim. We didn't realize that you're asking for us to react to the variety show. Also, how do we react to their variety show? How do we find it on YouTube? Send us links. Or if it's not on YouTube, tell us how we can find it, because we want to know.
We want to know. That being said, guys, we're going to jump into it. If there's anything else you want to see us react to, make sure you comment them down below. And subscribe for more reactions. So that being said, let's jump into it. The Most Beautiful Life Goes On, a story of BTS with our gentleman right here.
Today, everyone knows the name of BTS.
Yes.
They've been invited onto late-night talk shows, they've shattered records, they've sold out stadiums, they've made it onto the big screen. These days, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who didn't know who these guys were.
My parents.
Or at least haven't heard one of their songs.
My parents.
It'd be funny, you just like rock up and... You know what's interesting? I wonder... I'm curious because it's so hard to know how popular something is if it's on a different sphere of the internet that speaks a different language than you. Yeah. So I'd be super curious how popular BTS is like in Latin America or in Africa or just different spots like that. Mm-hmm. I'm really curious because we would have no way of knowing, right?
Yeah. Let us know if you're from Africa.
Oh, yeah, that would be really cool.
Or
South America. Did you know about BTS? Do people commonly? I'm just curious.
And if they don't, either they've been living under a rock or they're 100 years old. The success of the Bang 10 Boys is worldwide, but it wasn't always like this. And it all started with one man.
I like his glasses.
YG wanted to make himself a rap group. In the late 90s, he experimented with this idea with different trainees, eventually choosing 7 members. And while 3 of them eventually left, the remaining 4, Teddy, Danny, Jinhwan, and Baekhyun, debuted in 1998 as One Time. Their first album, titled One for Your Mind, was one of the year's best-selling albums and won several awards, including the Global Disc and SBS Music Awards for Best New Artist and KMTV's award for Best Hip-Hop Artist.
It's crazy how much the would it be called K-hip-hop scene reminds me of like music videos back in the early thousands, right?
So were they were beating the early thousands?
Yeah.
They came first?
Well, the group enjoyed moderate success and released 4 more albums before going on indefinite hiatus in 2006 due to their mandatory military service.
Oh, wow.
The year was 2010, and the 5-year-old company, Big Hit Entertainment, had previously signed 2 artists.
Did you know about mandatory military service in South Korea?
No, I had no idea.
So the only reason that I know about it is because a lot of MMA fighters will come out of Korea and they'll have to take, I believe it's 2 or 3 years off of their MMA careers.
Wow.
In order to serve in the military.
I wonder so have all the BTS members done it?
I don't know. I just know
it's
really, you can get an exemption from what I remember from the MMA forums and stuff, but it's actually incredibly difficult. Like, I believe sometimes Olympians can get an exemption, but like high-level top 5 UFC fighters couldn't get exemptions. Wow. So it's hard. I mean, these guys didn't either, and they were very, very high-level entertainers, right?
88 and 2 a.m. They had their share of successes, but they were very traditional K-pop groups. Big Hit wanted a fresh new sound, and upon listening to One Time, CEO Hitman Bang Si-hyuk had decided that that was the sound that he was looking for. And on top of that, the youth needed someone to relate to.
I like that little wave.
More importantly, look up to. He had decided he would create a hip-hop group. At 15 years old, Kim Namjoon auditioned for a certain Big Deal Records, which he completely botched, forgetting the lyrics to the song he was performing. Afterwards, fellow rapper Sleepy recommended that he try auditioning at another label, Big Hit.
That shirt is everything I want from my wardrobe, and the name Sleepy is an amazing MC name.
You basically have that shirt. Let's keep going.
And even put in a good word for him to one of the producers there. At age 16, Kim auditioned in front of Bang Si-hyuk himself and instantly impressed him. He was offered a deal with Big Hit on the spot, which Kim accepted and became a trainee, officially choosing a name for himself, Rap Monster, destined to become the leader of the newly created group.
16?
Now that a fearless leader was chosen, they needed more members.
Rap Monster
is the first and the leader.
Min Young-gi was a 17-year-old living in Daegu, an avid basketball player and rapper. He had been interested in music, especially rap, from a very early age. And despite his parents' disapproval, started performing as a rapper while still in high school. He quickly gained attention as a rapper and producer in the underground hip-hop scene. One day he saw a flyer for a rap competition called Hit It and decided to participate. And although he only placed second, the company hosting the competition...
That polo is beautiful compared to, like, switching from what we just saw to this polo. It's like two different people.
It's interesting seeing all the different aesthetics that are interplaying, because we've talked about this before when we react to any content that comes out of a different country, whether that's Europe or Asia, or I said a different country and then I said Europe and Asia. I'm an idiot. You know what I mean?
Continents.
You know what I mean? Just anytime it's not American, it's interesting how people perceive different clothing differently, right? Because I think this kind of looks like the Blue's Clues polo a little bit. Just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But who knows? There's stupid fashions that I participated in, right?
Big Hit decided to sign him on as a producer. Hitman Bang spoke with him afterwards, convincing him to join a newly created hip-hop group. He told him to just focus on rapping and assured him that he wouldn't need to dance. He was lying. And just like that, the new group had a second member, known as Suga, a combination of the first two syllables of shooting guard, his favorite position in basketball.
That's kind of funny.
I like that. Suga and Rap Monster. All right, I'm trying to remember.
Okay, so Rap Monster, Sugar. I'm surprised how young they are. 15, 16.
Also, you don't have to dance. Lies, all lies.
But they wouldn't stop there. Rappers were nice, but Big Hit actually needed a dancer.
What, Sugar's not going to do it?
Jung Ho-seok always loved dancing. He was in the starting lineup of the dance crew Neuron in his hometown, Gwangju. Whoa. He was good at it too, winning several local championships and even winning a championship at the national level in 2008. When he decided to audition for JYP Entertainment though, after a few rounds of auditions, he was cut. Fortunately, he didn't give up and went to his second option, a smaller, lesser-known company, Big Hit Entertainment. His dance skills and strong understanding of rhythm made him an instant favorite, and he was signed on as J-Hope.
J-Hope! J-Hope!
That's your favorite.
I love J-Hope.
You guys told us that the one that Wesley liked the most
J-Hope!
and that he's Sunshine.
I love J-Hope. He was so much fun. It's interesting how it seems there's a common theme so far of people, like all three guys they didn't make their first audition or they didn't win the competition, but they still found their way to this group. Isn't that kind of interesting?
And then they became huge,
yeah. He saw potential in him to become a rapper, which at this point he had little experience with. However, J-Hope quickly felt that he wasn't a good fit and decided to leave Big Hit until RM convinced both J-Hope and Big Hit that the group wouldn't be complete without him.
Aww.
He was right.
He was right.
종호석 와야 된다고. 종호석 안 오면 시기라고 멤버 믿고 간 거야.
I came back because I trusted you guys.
멤버 보고 왔어 진짜. 근데 나는 진짜 네가
With the addition of J-Hope, the rap line was complete. Now they needed some singers. Now, just like how RM, an amazing rapper with a ton of experience, was chosen as the first official member of the rap line, it would only make sense that a legendary singer and dancer would be the perfect first member of the vocal line. Right?
Nope. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But Kim Seok-jin didn't have any sort of experience like that.
Oh, yeah. Right. I called it. Okay.
When they said legendary, I don't know why. I was just like, what? A legendary?
Legendary already by 6.
One day when he was walking on the streets of his hometown, Anyang, he was approached by a representative of SM Entertainment with an offer to work for the company. In typical Jin fashion, he never followed up with them because he believed it to be a scam. Apparently, Jin was a very good-looking guy because years later, this time as a college student in Seoul, he was once again approached on the street. This time by an executive at Big Hit Entertainment.
That's insane. There's stories like this. That's Ashton, that's how Ashton Kutcher got discovered too.
Really?
Like not in Seoul, but he was walking around some beach and some like modeling executive just walked up there like, you're really good looking. Here's our card. We want you to model. That has to be like the ultimate ego booster, doesn't it?
They do that at the mall.
Yeah, well, some malls.
Yeah, some malls. I don't know.
I
always thought it was scammy.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep going.
Probably is, like, 99% of the time, but you don't hear about those.
Yeah. That's crazy.
He didn't sing, he didn't dance. He was at school to become an actor, and he decided to
Oh,
audition
actor?
to
He's just
become an
hot.
actor. Big Hit, however, had different plans for him, and convinced him to become a vocalist for their new group. To do so, he literally learned to dance and sing starting from zero, but thankfully, not without help from other vocalists.
That's
crazy.
nuts. You're so good looking. They're like, we're making a music group, and you know what?
We don't have any singers yet, and we want you to be the anchor for a whole singing line.
That's nuts.
Also, I kind of like how they talk about the group almost like you would talk about a football team.
Yeah,
like
you're,
they're like,
you're
okay,
casting, recruiting.
But no, I'm saying like they have an offensive line. They're like, okay, we got the rap line. Okay, cool. And now we have the D line. We're building the singers. Okay. Oh no, we need some.
Well, it sounds like that's exactly how they did it.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that interesting? I just wouldn't think about it like that. It's almost like they're casting positions, which they are. I just would never think of it in those terms.
Methodically.
Yeah.
John Jungkook initially had dreams of becoming a badminton player when he was young, but after seeing G-Dragon perform Heartbreaker on television, it influenced him to want to become a singer instead.
Aww.
Because of this, at only age 14,
That's a
he
hard
decided
pivot.
to audition for the South Korean talent show, Superstar K. He didn't pass auditions, but this was just enough to catch the eye of not one company, not two companies, but 7 different companies. This included JYP, FNC, Woollim, Starship Entertainment.
Well, I guess, I mean, there's different things different people are looking for, right? So just because you're not hitting certain casting directors, like, vision of what they're looking for doesn't mean you don't hit other people. It's interesting that everybody except for our last member had like major hardship in coming into the group, and he was like just walking down the street and we're like, we want you. Everyone else is like, they tried so hard, they like went to 3 auditions.
I mean, it helps if you're really good looking, I guess.
Which I feel like they all are though.
So yes, Cube, and of course, Big Hit Entertainment. So why did Jungkook, given the choice of all these bigger companies, decide to go with the relatively smaller company, Big Hit? The answer was simple. Because he thought, and I quote, RM was cool, so I wanted to sign with them. That brings the number of members to 5. The next member of BTS was just as surprised to find Big Hit as Big Hit was to find him, and it almost didn't happen. Kim Tae-young was always passionate about music, and it was always his dream to pursue it as a career. However, it was hard, as his family was poor, his parents being humble farmers. His father told him that if he was passionate about music, he should learn an instrument, and he did, spending 3 years practicing with the saxophone. One day, one of his friends decided to audition for Big Hit Entertainment when they were holding auditions in his hometown of Daegu. Tae-young, being a good friend, came with him to keep him company. But when one of the team members in charge of the audition saw Tae-young, he encouraged him to audition as well. With nothing to lose, he did.
Did he play saxophone?
No, I think that they're just like, he's good looking. Let's see if he can sing too.
It would be really funny. Because in my head, I'm imagining he's just like whipped out. He's like, okay, I mean, I brought my saxophone, so I can totally rock this, right?
That day, he was the only one in Daegu to move on to the next round of auditions and eventually became a trainee for Big Hit Entertainment. They decided to keep him as a surprise member and didn't want to reveal him as one of the members until his debut. In the same vein, Big Hit had him choose something mysterious for his stage name. He decided to go with V for victory. Here seems like a nice round number to stop, right? 6 members for a new hip-hop group,
No, you need
3
7.
rappers, and 3 vocalists. It seems like a complete group, but still there was...
Look at J-Hope. I love him. J-Hope in pictures and video, just so happy.
Something missing.
Good energy.
Someone was missing. Someone that could take this already great group of artists and push it even further to achieve perfection. A powerhouse. Someone so naturally talented that they could stand out in a room full of already talented artists. This project that Big Hit had embarked upon needed a capstone.
Capstone?
Park Jimin was
That's
a
a
naturally
cool first
talented
name.
dancer.
Park?
When he was in middle school, he attended a dance academy and continued to pursue dance at Busan High School of Arts, where he studied contemporary dance and was the top student in the whole modern dance department.
That's
Impressed
crazy.
by his raw talent, a teacher encouraged him to audition for Big Hit Entertainment, who were holding auditions in Busan. He was only 16 when he passed the audition, and
That's a face of, ha, you're welcome. I'm going to tell this story to every single student ever if they ever question my advice.
moved to Seoul to become a trainee. He was the final member of the group, and he also had the shortest training period.
Probably
yeah,
just
he's like a
he was already
dancing
good.
god, right?
It wasn't like you had to learn from scratch.
Oh yeah, right. Like,
Note is that the group feels very much ragtag because in a sense, with the exception of Jimin, it was. RM and J-Hope only auditioned for Big Hit because they didn't pass their auditions with the first company they chose. And despite their amazing talent, Suga and Jungkook didn't win the competitions they were in, but they signed on to Big Hit after the fact because of their high quality performances. V never even planned on auditioning and just decided to do it on a whim, and they literally just found Jin on the streets.
V and Jen are, I don't know, I just love V and Jen.
Those are my favorite stories.
I feel like if you guys have friends that just kind of like fall upward, you know what I mean? Like
they just stumble into good luck and
there's,
things.
oh, cool. Oh, do I want to become an internationally famous millionaire?
Sure.
I guess. I mean, it's
on.
Tuesday. I wasn't planning anything else. Okay. Hey, buddy, I brought my saxophone, so let's rock it.
It was fate, because this was the group that they chose. And just like that, in 2012, the newly created Bangtanso년dan, the Bulletproof Boy Scouts, or simply
Bulletproof
BTS,
Boy Scouts.
Pause, baby break.
was 7.
저도
Nice-
아침에
nice
리허설
selfie.
때 이거 보고 많이
Throwbacks?
They had the group, but they still needed the music. In early 2013, they set out to create some social media presence for themselves before officially debuting, posting song covers on both SoundCloud and YouTube.
Really? On
You can
SoundCloud?
still go watch today. In May,
Oh,
Big
they're
Hit launched a
posted.
countdown clock on
Do you want to see that? I kind of want to see what that was.
Oh,
That's really interesting.
Wesley likes SoundCloud.
Yeah,
Rappers.
there was like a thing where I was into SoundCloud for like a month, and it was longer than that. But that's really interesting. I had no idea that major groups launched SoundClouds.
And you look on the left,
K-pop.
Bangtan TV, 40.2
million
million subscribers.
That's crazy. That's so cool.
In May, Big Hit launched a countdown clock on their website in preparation for BTS's debut album, complete with a trailer and a ton of promotional material, including photos for the first time of all the members in the official lineup.
Oh, so they never announced them? It's kind of a cool.
Way to do it.
Yeah,
Finally,
isn't it?
the big day came. June 12, 2013. BTS held a press conference and a debut showcase where they performed their
Look at
2
those
singles,
outfits.
No More Dream and We Are Bulletproof Part 2.
It looks like KSI's Versace shirt from the Tinder video,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
yeah. I like it.
The same day, the Too Cool for School album, as well as the music video for No More Dream, were released.
I want to watch
I like that. That's kind of funky baseline, isn't
The
it?
very
Yeah.
next day, BTS performed the song again on their official debut stage on Mnet's M Countdown.
They look so young.
16, right?
Yeah, right?
This
Or I
was the
think they're a
world's
little
first
older at this
taste
point.
of BTS. Commercially, the album didn't do extraordinarily well. The lead single,
Really?
No More Dream, peaked at 124 in Korea, and the album sold only 24,000 copies during its first year. Bulletproof
Really?
Part 2 didn't even chart. The first year wasn't all that great for BTS,
Wow.
but despite everything, people saw them.
Because, you know, they're good
People
looking.
saw the sparkle in their eyes and their limitless potential. And they were hot, of
The
course.
sparkle in their eyes.
He already said he goes, and they were hot. So the sparkle in their eyes.
That's adorable.
The sparkle in their eyes.
I mean, I see it.
I mean, I see it in
Are
J-Hope.
established as BTS's official fandom. They made their comeback only 2 months later in September when they released
J-Hope.
their single No, along with their EP, part 2 of what would be their school trilogy, Oh, Are You Late 2. In the music video for the single, they made a commentary on the harsh Korean education system, along with their previous themes of hopes and dreams. No peaked at 92
Oh,
in
that
Korea,
was
but
cool.
also quickly fell off the charts. The album debuted at number 4 on the Gaon Weekly chart and was the 55th best-selling album in South Korea that year. This was enough to
That looked like the best dystopian young adult
Yeah.
novel ever.
I was like, that is an intense scene.
I would like, I don't
They
know.
look like
I would give
robots.
up like the Hunger Games and some other series to get a
They should make
story
a
set
movie.
in that. That would
Yeah.
be really cool. Did you see it? So they were going into social commentary with their second album already.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's
secure
really
them the
interesting.
coveted New Artist of the Year award at the Melon Music Awards, the
That's a
Golden
great
Disc
suit.
Awards, and the Seoul Music Awards. Part 3 of the School Trilogy was released in February of 2014, the EP School Love Affair. This time, the lead single was Boy in Love,
Very school uniforms a lot,
and
right?
the other single
Yeah.
being Just One Day.
I mean, they're old enough to be in school. Also, they
Oh, that's
change
true.
their hair so frequently. Like,
That's
their
what makes it-
hairstyles are crazy.
I never realized how much I do use hair when I'm first learning somebody.
Yeah, like,
I use hair as one of my main identifiers, and I will say it makes it trickier for me when we're jumping through history to
Blonde,
be like, okay,
pink,
that's V,
black.
okay,
Yeah.
that's Rap Monster, okay, that's Sugar.
But it's crazy how much they change it. I don't feel
Do you
like
think-
Americans change their hair color that
Do you
often.
think it's bad? Because we've heard
like
a
bad
lot of
for your hair.
YouTubers talk about how like bleaching their hair or changing their hair color is really difficult on it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're...
I'm sure they have access to like the best hairstylists to do it.
And
but-
if you're a guy, though, you're not...
Oh, that's
you
true. So
grow
your
it
hair
out
grow
that
back
much.
much more quickly. That
The
makes
album,
sense.
as well as both singles, enjoyed moderate success, with the album topping the Gaon album chart, as well as making its first international appearance at number 3 on the Billboard
Oh, wow.
World Albums chart. The album also marked their first distinctive change in theme, focusing more on school life and young
Yeah.
love, as evidenced by their Boy in Love music video. They also
Marketing
held their
worked.
first fan meetings with a crowd of 3,000 in Seoul.
All
BTS
girls.
was doing well. That is, until July. This is, unfortunately, a dark chapter in the lives of
What?
BTS and ARMY. That's right. American Hustle Life. I'm joking, of course, but American
What?
Hustle Life was a reality show put together by Mnet that brought
Oh.
BTS to Los Angeles, where they had the unique opportunity to learn the true ways of hip-hop from the masters. And it was a pretty darn cringy opportunity, but an opportunity nonetheless. Whatever you do, just don't watch the Warren G version of Boy in Love. You've been warned. However, cringe and all, the trip proved fruitful for
I
BTS.
think this looks-
That looks
Connections
so
performing their first-
entertaining.
This looks amazing. Are you kidding
What
me?
do you mean, why is it cringy
Why
or
would
whatever?
we-
That looks great.
That looks awesome. I want to watch it. Was that a Rolls Royce limo? Because
I don't...
yes,
that was-
please.
That was fantastic.
They looked so excited too,
Also,
didn't they?
I know. Also, I have a question. Did they know English before? Because they're
Oh,
singing
that's
so much
interesting.
English in some of those early songs, and still, I imagine, in some of their later songs.
I wonder too. Like some members might have. I wonder if when they're doing lyrics and stuff like that, if some members like. Just do they all know English now? Because I know they do interviews like on Letterman
Yeah.
and stuff like that now. But
Well-
did they know it going in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
That's
know.
a
if
good
all of them
question.
do. I know that Blackpink, some of them know English better than
Yeah.
others because I've seen interviews done by them.
And they'll help each other out, right?
Yeah, but also, I mean, we sing foreign songs, and I'll sing words I have no idea what they
Oh,
mean.
especially with Latin music.
Mhm.
Because
Oh, yeah.
we know like a few words and a few sentences, and somehow that makes it easier to like follow along with the cadence of the language.
Even though you don't know what
you
you're
don't know what you're
saying.
saying, yeah.
This concert for free in front of 200 fans, as well as their first appearance at KCON. The next
I'm
month,
sorry, I
in
have one more comment I can't get out of my head. Sorry to pause. At our church groups a lot, they'll play a lot of Latino music because you can't tell what the words
They're
are.
like, oh yeah, we can't play American pop or American
They don't play
hip-hop.
like bad American songs that are in English, but they'll play songs that are in Spanish with bad words in it because they don't know what it is.
August, BTS released their first full-length studio album, Dark and Wild.
Oh, they hadn't
The
released
album
the full
featured
album
two
yet?
singles, Danger
I love the beats.
and War of Hormones.
War of Hormones. That's a
The album
sick
featured a
pinstripe
marked
suit.
shift in
It's really
sound
nice.
with a touch of R&B and electronica. It was met with moderate success. It peaked at number 2 in Korea, selling over 200,000
Moderate?
albums. In October and again in May of the following year, BTS went on their first and second concert tours, known as the Red Bullet Tour, where they
That's
visited
cool.
13 different countries, including Japan, the Philippines, Australia, the US, Mexico, and many others. They
Wow.
also came out with their first Japanese album in December, Wake Up, featuring many Japanese versions of their songs as well as original tracks Wake Up and The Stars.
In Japanese?
That's
That has to be so difficult to perform and embody all the emotions and energy that you want to put into a song in a different language.
I
That's
don't even
really
know.
impressive.
I just want to say I love the silver hair. I love
by a
that.
Japan tour and a solo concert.
Good for me when I get older, right?
Yeah. As long as you keep it.
Yeah, good call.
Although Dark and Wild got decent attention, they needed something different. They needed something that would shake things up. They got to work. April 29, 2015 was their comeback. When this album was produced, each member had a hand in writing songs for the album. They
Oh.
again changed their sound from aggressive hip hop to youthful, colorful styles. And not only their sound, but their image as well. This can be evidenced by their newest EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. And just by looking at the album cover, they ditched the dark colors and the bulletproof vest symbol that had become so synonymous with BTS.
It's like they went on TikTok and they were really just browsing and they're like, cottagecore soft boy aesthetic?
No,
Next album, let's go!
I love it because I think it's more like reflective of who they are as people. And the
Oh,
fact
I
that-
was just kidding.
No, I know, but I think that's really cool that that's what the audience gravitated towards and really liked. And
Was
like,
just them being authentic?
yeah, I think that speaks a lot to everything I've seen so far.
It's
in the fan base.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I wonder. I'm sure they liked the other stuff too, because
Yeah.
like 3 of their members came up from the underground Korean
Hip-hop.
hip-hop scene, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure they liked what they were doing before, too. It's probably just another part
Branch.
of them, maybe?
And replaced it with a simple white and pink background overlaid with the title.
That's really
and
pretty.
then they dropped the single that would change everything. I Need You.
I love it.
It was sentimental. It was hopeful. It was new. Just by looking at the music video, we can see that BTS has also ditched their punk bad boy image and replaced it with a more real, vulnerable, down-to-earth
like it
and youthful
more.
feel. This proved to be the change that BTS needed for mainstream success. Billboard called it one of the greatest K-pop songs of the decade.
Wow.
It charted at number 5 in Korea and even led them to their first music show win on SBS MTV's The Show. And that wasn't all. They released their second single
Oh, look how happy
Dope.
he was.
on June 24th, which
I
started
love
off with a poignant
when they
line
do the
from
dancing
RM.
in live performances.
Me too.
어서 와. 방탄은
Also,
처음이지.
uniforms.
Welcome. Is this your first time with BTS? And you know what? For a lot of people, it was. In a way,
That-
I
Great.
like Rap Monster's attitude.
I love it.
Like J-Hope and Rap Monster, I'm just like, let's go.
their first studio album and tour can be seen as their stepping stone between old school BTS and new school. In November, they came back with their follow-up EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Part 2, the second EP in what would be dubbed
didn't
the
shave
Youth
perfectly.
Trilogy, which featured the single Run.
I'm gonna go listen
The
to all
album
this
focused
music.
even more on the frivolity, friendship, and carefree attitude that comes with enjoying one's youth, but just like in I Need You, contrasted that with suffering, depression, loneliness, society, and the stark and sometimes dark reality of life. Compare this with the far cry of the No More Dreams music video. It felt real. It was darker, grittier, more humble, more meaningful, and most importantly, RM lost his mohawk. Run also connected narratively with their previous single, I Need You, and another video released in September titled On Stage Prologue established what would come to be known as the BTS universe, or the BU,
A lot of
which would
logos.
eventually combine music videos, short films, books, short stories, webtoons, and even a
Wow.
mobile game to create a cohesive story. And I won't go down this rabbit hole because
What?
there is a lot to digest, but it's definitely something to look into if you're a hardcore ARMY.
Wow.
There's a whole like cinematic universe.
They branched into every
That is
direction
crazily cool.
now. And they
The
started with no talent for one of them. He's like, I couldn't sing, I couldn't
I
dance,
know,
I was just hot.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about V, who plays the saxophone. I was about to
He's
be.
got
I was
talent.
gonna be like, yo, he plays the saxophone first of all, so you better watch how you speak.
Same month, they kicked off their third
On it, no, being able to get into a group and like get trained up,
Means you
you
have
have massive amounts of talent.
potential talent, untapped.
The Most Beautiful Moment in Life on-stage tour, where they performed songs from their two recent EPs, Part 1 and Part 2. And Part 2 was a hit, their biggest so far. It topped the Weekly Gaon album and Billboard World Albums charts. And on Billboard, it stayed there for multiple weeks. The first K-pop act to do
I have a question. I'm sorry. I can't wait for any longer. Are they in relationships? Because if they're going on tour this much and they're so close with and spend so much time with each other, how would you maintain a relationship?
Like have time to.
Or how would
right,
you even
frankly.
have time? And then also when you're that big, right? How could you trust whoever you're with not to be in it for the wrong reasons? Kind of the same with big YouTubers, I guess. But I
They're
mean,
just actors or rich people in general.
I know,
right?
but they're always together. At least everything I've seen so far.
so. It also appeared on the Billboard 200 albums chart. Not world albums, which is reserved for foreign non-English songs, but simply the
That was
top
like a
200
hell of an
albums,
apartment party.
peaking at 171. Which is kind of amazing considering that this was back in 2015. They also received Best World Performer at the 17th Mnet Asian Music Awards. This brings us to part 3 of the Youth Trilogy, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Young Forever.
That's
Released on May
vibes.
2nd.
All these album
their
covers
tit-
are vibes.
Also, I feel like their titles are like they speak to a young soul, you know,
Yeah.
with really sweet names and titles. Kind of like Taylor Swift really appealed to that young demographic with
Yeah.
a lot of her songs. Like they just embody that teenage spirit, you know, and they're hitting that.
2016, which featured probably my favorite BTS album cover.
It's
Young
really
Forever
cool.
was
That's
actually
cool.
a compilation album of parts 1 and 2, so it was mostly the same songs, but it was notable that it had some new singles, Epilogue, Young Forever, Fire, and Save Me. The latter two performed exceptionally well, with both songs topping the Billboard World Digital Songs chart.
Wow.
This was
I heard
also the
Fire,
second
I
BTS
remember.
album to chart on the Billboard 200 at 107. and it topped both the Gaon weekly and monthly chart, which earned BTS their first Daesang.
Guys, what's your favorite BTS song? Or your top 5? Go. I want to know.
I just saw Florida Georgia Line on those charts, and I never thought I would see Florida Georgia Line in
right
a
next
BTS
to each other?
History documentary.
What are the top 5 that you think we should and need to listen to?
That'd be really
Tell us,
fun,
because
yeah.
I want to listen to them.
I
And
heard
if we
Fire
can't
back
react,
in like 2015 or 2016, I remember.
방탄소년단 축하드립니다.
They look so like...
Album of the Year at the 8th Melon Music Awards. They
I'm
went
sure
on
it
to do
means
the
a lot.
second half of their tour, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life on Stage Epilogue, selling out many of their concerts and even selling out KCON in the US where they headlined the event. In September, they dropped their second Japanese album, Youth, featuring Japanese versions of tracks from their previous 3 EPs, which went gold and peaked at number 1 on Japanese charts. And only a month later, in October of 2016,
pretty.
it happened. BTS dropped their second studio album.
Looks like a wedding venue,
Wings.
doesn't it?
It sold over 500,000 copies in its first week. In comparison, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1, released just the previous year, which topped the Gaon chart, sold about 500,000 in its entire lifetime.
Oh, wow.
Wings was big, but the true showstopper was its lead single, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which got them their first all-kill, topping 8 music charts in South Korea. Its music video gained 6 million views in the first 24 hours, which
Wow.
broke the YouTube record for the highest number of views
wow.
of a K-pop group music video within 24 hours. The album hit number 26 on the Billboard 200, the highest ever charting K-pop album on
You see, I just saw DJ Snake. So many throwback names, right?
Billboard. They ended up selling 1.5 million copies in South Korea in 2016 alone.
In
and it
just
netted
South
them
Korea,
the
that's
Artist of the
crazy.
Year award at the Mnet Asian Music Awards that same year, the first non-Big 3 artist ever to receive that award.
수상자는 방탄소년단.
Their jackets are really cool.
I love older
After Blood,
outfits,
Sweat, and
actually.
Tears, they were on a roll. BTS was unstoppable.
Look at the one in the
I was
red.
gonna say.
I love that.
That's just mad vampire aesthetics.
No,
That is so cool.
he's got a cravat.
Yeah,
he
mad
looks like
vampire
he's right
aesthetics.
out of the like Regency era
That's
of
because
England.
he's a vampire.
Oh my goodness, it's awesome.
In February of 2017, they released the instant hit Spring Day, which, quoting a Korean reviewer, embodied nostalgia and sorrow and opened a new
Nostalgia,
chapter of
that's the
BTS's
word.
aesthetics
Yeah.
and lyricism, and attracted fans across generational boundaries. Which, by the way, is still on Korean charts after nearly 4 years, and the same day I'm writing this, it ranked number 53 on Melon. It won Song of the Year at the 9th Melon Music Awards. After the release of Spring Day, they went on yet another tour, the 2017 BTS Live Trilogy, Episode 3, The Wings Tour. The tickets sold out within minutes, including in the United States, the first K-pop artist to do so, and went on to win Best Social Artist at the Billboard Music Awards. The first
Wow.
for a Korean artist.
That's
They
so
really go on to
cool.
win this award 4 years in a row. The next year
Wow.
was a period of massive growth for both the group's popularity as well as their style. They released the Love Yourself series, starting with Love Yourself Her in September of 2017, Love Yourself Tear in May of 2018, and Love Yourself Answer in August of 2018. 3 albums that gave us some of the most classic BTS songs that we know and love
Aw.
today, such as Mic Drop,
Oh yeah!
I don't think I know it.
Fake Love, Euphoria, Idol,
I saw this video
I
too.
like this one.
and of
We
course,
saw this one together, didn't we?
Whoa, no, I haven't seen it.
all 3 albums were commercial successes, Her being their first album to top 2 million album sales. But Tear and Answer also did equally well. These
That's
3
crazy.
albums, as well as their Japanese album, Face Yourself, prove
Can we talk about the fact that whoever designs their albums,
It's killer.
It's
That's
just
really cool.
killing it.
I love that.
they're all super different, but they kind of have a sort of
Similar-
thematics.
yeah, it's
right?
like simple colors with
It's
white
kind of
background.
minimalistic with gradients, and it's just really
love it.
cool.
that they weren't done yet, not even close. During this time, they shattered countless records. Their singles went platinum, they topped charts, they won awards. And not only did they break YouTube records, but they broke records that they themselves set again and again.
It's gotta feel good, right?
This is
Yeah.
the period where BTS really started enjoying global
Wow.
recognition, working with huge Western artists such as Nicki Minaj, Designer, and Steve Aoki.
One of those names One of those names is not nearly as
I
big
don't
of
know
an
who this
iconic
guy
artist.
is.
No, not Steve Aoki. Steve Aoki's a legend in the EDM scene. Designer is a one-hit wonder.
It wasn't their first time having international features on their songs, but it was definitely the biggest. And even though they were already, without a doubt, the biggest act to ever come out of South Korea, they had their eyes set even higher. They went on tour once again for the Love Yourself World Tour. During this tour, they collaborated with Steve Aoki to make the
I know who
song
that is.
Wasted on Me. Notable
I
for being
like
their
that.
first all-English feature. And it also served as a jumping-off point for BTS to gain a following of English speakers. Not that they were Map of the Soul Persona. First things first, you can't mention Map of the Soul Persona without mentioning Boy With Love. It was simple math. What do you get when you cross the singer of one of the best charting songs of all time that went platinum 59 times in 13 different countries with, without a question, the most globally dominant pop group of all time?
Who was
well,
that?
you get this.
Who's the girl?
Nothing less than an instant hit. Number 8 on Billboard Hot 100. Platinum in the US.
Who is it?
21
Who was the
music
girl?
shows.
That shot he showed of her was not very clear.
Number 1
who
on
she
iTunes
was.
in 67 different countries. The
Who was
most
it?
liked
Tell
and
us.
the most viewed YouTube.
Halsey.
Okay, I
Halsey.
thought it was Halsey,
I thought it
but
was
she had
Halsey,
long
too.
hair, and I was like, is it? I don't know.
See, it's crazy.
I love Halsey.
We both use hair, and Halsey changes her hair a lot, and I don't always recognize her.
When she's got longer
Yeah.
hair. I can't.
Video in the first 24 hours. The fastest video to reach 100 million views. A current view count of over 1 billion views. 7 boys, 1 girl, and 7 different hair colors.
She looks-
They were the talk of the
can't.
town,
Halsey
invited
looks
to
nothing
talk
like
show
this.
after talk show after talk show. The second single.
Those suits, though. Can we take a second to appreciate?
I don't like those, not gonna lie.
I do. They look like they took the. They look like Christmas present wrappings almost.
They look like
they
old grandma curtains.
No, they opened Christmas presents and turned them into suits. They're even kind of glossy. I dig. I'm about it.
On the album was Make It Right. Written by Ed Sheeran himself. In
What?
this
Wow.
version featuring
My
Loud.
cousin?
The album debuted at number 1 on Gaon and sold 3.2 million copies its first month, and that's only in Korea. It became the best-selling album in South Korea ever. It swept every major Korean music show, winning Album of the Year in each one of them. They followed up this legendary EP with the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself.
How many songs have they made? Because it's
They
gotta
seem
be
like
like
they crank them
100.
out,
like
right?
bam, bam, bam,
World
bam.
Tour, where they sold out both the Rose Bowl and the Wembley Stadium in only an hour, the only non-English speaking act to do so. They even performed as a solo act in Saudi Arabia, the first foreign act to do that. The last stop of their tour,
I used to go to the Rose Bowl to go on walks around it when I lived in California. It's a 3-mile walk
You
around.
just did that after they talked about Saudi Arabia, so you were like, I used to go, and I was like, you
I
never
haven't
told
been
me
to
you went to Saudi Arabia.
But the Rose Bowl took us, it's 3 miles. It took us an hour to walk around
was
it.
at South
That's how
Korea's
big it
largest
is.
venue, the Seoul
Oh,
Olympic
the fact
Stadium.
they sold it out
ended up
that
grossing
fast?
Yeah.
$200 million. During this time, they also created a visual novel style game for mobile devices called BTS World, where the player can interact with the members. This also came with an original soundtrack with tracks unique to the game, featuring Western
I get
artists.
ads for
Zara
that on
Larsson,
Pinterest.
Charlie
Do you really?
XCX, and Juice WRLD for the tracks A Brand New Day, Dream Glow, and All Night, respectively. In December of
really
2019, the group swept the grand prizes for both the Melon and Mnet Music Award shows, the first artist to do that. Map of the Soul Persona was legendary, truly a marvel in modern music. So, how could BTS follow up the best-selling album in South Korean history, you may ask? Easy.
Making their own show.
Make an even better-selling album. And that's what they did with Map of the Soul 7.
Oh my
The album was
goodness.
released on February 21st of
They're just going
2020,
on a
featuring the
run.
singles Black Swan
That's really cool.
That's a cool name.
and On. And sold over
That looks like it's from Braveheart.
yeah, it
Doesn't
does.
it?
Or the Civil War or something.
Also, if any album sounds like it could be a young adult novel series, Stephanie's gonna be like, wow, that's amazing! If it's like a color and then an animal or a bird, it's like, I don't know, Magenta Sparrow. Stephanie's like, whoa! That's
8.1
amazing,
million
right?
albums in just the first week, and the first Korean album to be certified as quadruple million on the Gaon Music Chart.
Quadruple
it debuted
million?
at number 1 on music charts all over the world, including the
overwhelmed.
US, Korea, the UK, Japan, and much of Europe. It's not an exaggeration to say that this album left a permanent mark on the world,
That's
launching
crazy.
BTS into legendary status and becoming the best-selling artist in South Korean history.
I feel like at this point you're like, no, it gets even better. It gets even better. No, but you don't understand. Now it's even bigger. And I'm like, my mind's already blown.
It's
You're
like-
already the best. You can't blow my mind.
It's like if
anymore.
Usain Bolt just kept on like going back to the Olympics and breaking more and more records.
You're just like,
right?
I don't know what to do
It's
anymore
like
at
you
this
kind
point.
of expect it. You're like, okay, so they're gonna break this one again, right? Even though it's like a generational, all-time world accomplishment.
Scheduled a Map of the Soul tour for April of that year, which would have undoubtedly outsold their record-breaking tour only a year prior. But unfortunately, the COVID pandemic caused the entire tour to be postponed, including the show at the Rose Bowl, which I was supposed to attend. But that didn't stop BTS, who performed virtual concerts, spoke at the Dear Class of 2020 graduation event, and released the Japanese version of their recent album
That's
with
cool.
their original Japanese single, Stay Gold.
I like that.
And to top it all off, this was only June. At this point, it was clear that BTS had
Yeah!
already dominated their home turf, and they had topped the music charts all over the world. This time, their sight was set for the very top. Remember that scene in The Social Network where Mark and Sean talk about how they don't want $1 million, they want $1 billion. How they're not.
I thought they were gonna
That's how I
say
feel.
that they collaborated with Justin Timberlake.
I know, that's what I
was
thought they were
like-
going to say too.
I mean, I like Justin Timberlake, but I feel
like-
I was like, that's the new heights to take over the world is collabing with Justin Timberlake?
interested in catching 14 trout, but they'd rather catch an 800-pound marlin? Well, that's what they set their sights on. The marlin, the biggest music industry in the world, the United States. And at the top of that music
Are we?
industry,
I didn't
number
know that.
1 on Billboard Hot 100. This small group from a company that virtually no one had heard about 8 years ago planned to take on Goliath himself and dominate the American industry on their home turf. And all they had to do was speak English. August 21st. Enter Dynamite. Their
We
first
are terrible about that we don't listen to music unless we know the lyrics, except for Spanish.
Sometimes.
We'll listen to Spanish.
Sometimes.
Not all of it.
Sometimes.
Usually it's got to have some sort of crossover with a
Yeah.
little bit of English in it. We are terrible at that, aren't we?
and only English singles so far, simultaneously performed better than anyone had expected, but at the same time
I like
is
how often they wear
exactly what
suits.
we as an audience had come to expect from the legendary boy band themselves. And they did it. They reached number 1 on the US Billboard Hot 100, the Global 200, and the Global Excluding US chart. And they made sure that if you hadn't heard of them before, you
There's
definitely
a
have
Global
now.
Excluding
And if
US
that
chart.
wasn't already the biggest flex, on October 2nd, they came out with Savage Love BTS Remix with Jason Derulo.
I
Oh!
love that song! I didn't know they
Getting
did
number
that.
one.
They did a remix?
I didn't know
that.
I like that song a lot.
On the Billboard Hot 100 again, less than 2 months after already getting at number 1 with Dynamite. And on the Global 200, where they actually replaced themselves at number 1, the first artist to do so ever. So what makes
cool.
BTS so special? How did they achieve all this? K-pop is a genre that spans for at least 30 years, and there have been hundreds of boy groups and hundreds of girl groups. What did BTS do to rise above all of them and break through to markets never before seen? Historically, the boy band industry has been dominated by white English-speaking bands. And the fact that BTS has not only
British
held their
ones.
own, but
A lot of British bands. The Beatles were British. One Direction's British. There's a lot of them, right? What?
I just know, like,
Those are the
that
big
comparison
boy
would
bands.
make people so angry. And
Except
I feel
for
like
the
it would
Backstreet
make,
Boys and
it would
NSYNC.
make both fan groups so angry. Comparing the Beatles to One Direction, like, One Direction fans would probably get so pissed. Beatles fans are going to be fuming.
I'm just saying.
Facebook
he said
would light up.
historically. So I gave
Facebook
an
would
old
light up.
example and a new example. He said historically.
Historically.
any sign of competition out of the water on a global scale can be attributed to nothing less than their talent, hard work, and a bit of a 1 in a million miracle. They did it through their own blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak. Around the world,
They seem more authentic
boy
than a
bands
lot of other groups, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
especially once they sort of started to change direction.
Yeah, I agree.
have pretty much fallen into obscurity, but BTS is thriving. And though I've stated this all before, it's worth saying again.
I have one other thought. A lot of times those boy groups or those boy bands, they'll lose members and then
Are
the
you
band-
saying like from K-pop though? Because I think
Not
that's,
from
that's
K-pop.
two different comparisons.
Well,
There's two things. It's like how has a boy band group been successful internationally to this degree? And then the second question is, why haven't other K-pop groups done it?
Okay, well,
we don't know how
I don't know how
works,
other K-pops,
right?
but I can speak to the bands I know. The Beatles, One Direction, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, they all fell apart when members started leaving,
and
right?
NSYNC.
Right?
Speaking of Justin Timberlake, right?
Yes, exactly. So when their members start leaving, that kind of loses the structure, and they've stayed together, and they're genuinely like each other for so long. I think that is probably a huge part of it.
Because I know in the English-speaking world, whenever the group gets big enough, the biggest member just leaves and does a solo career.
Yeah.
And even now, like One Direction has been disbanded or on hiatus for a long time, and people still clamor for them to get together and make an album.
Yeah.
Imagine if they had just stayed together and kept making albums this whole time, right?
In contrast to other bands who would sing about romantic relationships with girls and what some would call predictable bubblegum pop tunes, BTS is continuously pushing the envelope and changing their styles. According to an article by Vulture.com, they describe this style as much less a successor of the Backstreet Boys and more of the successors of Michael Jackson, whose choreography and charisma were unprecedented.
While
of course there's a lot of love for the angelic vocals of BTS, rap has also played a very important part in creating their own style. In stark contrast to the typical boy band where every member sings, it's so refreshing when you're in the middle of a song and you hear RM's raw rapping skills, J-Hope's energy, or Suga's soul put into every single line. Interestingly enough, at the first glance, it seems that the success of BTS was miraculous, despite not being part of the Big Three, but it can also be argued that their success was because of their separation from the Big Three. Their label, Big Hit Entertainment, whose founder emphasizes artistic freedom more than anything else, allowed them to make their own sound. And going back to BTS Universe...
So who's laughing now? You just said hip-hop was one of the main reasons they were able to do so well. Thankfully, they went to LA for that reality show to learn about with 90s hip-hop icons. So now who's laughing? Who's cringy?
Not often that a K-pop group does something special with each of their songs and albums, utilizing strong storytelling that can go beyond simply the song itself,
really
but rather
really
interconnected
That's like
with
a
other
lit
songs
college
and even other
apartment
albums
party.
to create one large overarching story. And not only do they all have their own expertise in performance, but also each of them have had the experience of writing and producing their own music, and they're not afraid to let their style evolve over time. BTS during their debut is such a far cry from Wings era BTS and current day BTS. They also chose to tackle more adult issues instead of simply love and girls. While they definitely didn't have a shortage of those, they tackled other very important issues such as
great.
regret, following your dreams, hard work, self-love, and many, many, many
that
others.
Is cool.
Add that to the fact that as fans, we can feel the authenticity of the members themselves. They seem approachable.
They like each other,
Seems
right?
like there's a place for every type of fan. And in this fast-paced world where things change at unthinkable speeds, BTS has stayed grounded and faithful to who they were and who they are. Those kids we saw on American Hustle Life, along with their dreams and passions, are the same men who stand before us today. And while some artists like to keep...
his face there, he's like...
It's wild seeing the intercuts between modern BTS and really early BTS, isn't it?
And also just like when they're performing and they're all serious and
then when they're
faces at
being
the camera.
goofy, right?
Yeah. I think that's why people love
their
them.
personal lives private.
J-Hope.
BTS gives us a look at their personal lives through their vlogs, which allow us to become more connected to them than ever before. What is truly amazing is that, with the exception of just one single, they're doing this all while singing in their native tongue, Korean. Their music holds so much power that it literally breaks through the barriers of language. And no, they're not done yet. Today, November 20th, they're releasing their 5th studio album, B. Their singles on the album, Dynamite and Life Goes On. And chances are, life will go on for BTS. And chances are they'll continue to break even more records.
Safe bet,
They've shown that
right?
they're capable of dominating music charts across the world and even reaching across the Pacific Ocean and conquering the music industry in the United States. What's next for them? Mars? In any case, they've only started in 2013,
Call up Elon.
and BTS is as strong as it's ever been. As far as we know, they will only continue to light it up like a dynamite.
That was cool. That was
really cool.
really educational. So
It
that
was
was
super
definitely different
interesting.
than what we usually react to, but we wanted to watch it and kind of learn more about him. So that was awesome.
It was really cool. It's always interesting, especially because at this point, BTS, I feel like, is going to have documentaries made about them.
Oh, for sure.
It's like a huge social phenomenon.
Yeah.
So they are a huge social phenomenon. So it's really cool learning more about it. And thank you guys for the recommendation. This was such a phenomenal music video.
I bet
right?
their concerts are
I bet their concerts are crazy.
I'm not even kidding. If they come here, I want to go because I liked every single little snippet of songs that I heard. Yeah. No, seriously, if they come here,
that would be really fun.
We're going.
That would be really fun. I'd like to.
Even if we have to drive like 5 hours.
Good luck getting tickets. Did you hear how fast everything's sold out?
Look, I know how to click refresh really good. I can do it. I got this.
That being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Wesley.
I'm Stephanie.
And this is Wes and Steph. That was super, super fun. If you guys have other recommendations for videos you want us to check out, please leave them in the comments down below, whether they're BTS specific or there's something else. So please comment them down below and subscribe.
Love you.
Come react to us and stuff. But yeah, we love you guys.
React
Take care.
to us? React with us?
React with us?
Oh my goodness, this is a struggle. It's been a long video. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye.